Happy baby seeds. There are 3 brain rules here. Number 1, babies are born with their own temperament. Number 2, emotions are just post-it notes. And number 3, empathy makes good friends. The only thing you did to this sweet, calm little baby girl is to put a new toy in her crib. But she reacts as if you had just taken her favorite one away. Her eyes dart up at you. Her face begins to contort, stress building up in her heart like a looming squall. She lets loose a Category 4 wail, flailing her legs and arching her back in nearly catastrophic distress. But it isn't just you. This happens to the poor thing whenever a new experience comes her way. An unfamiliar voice, a strange smell, a loud noise. She is so sensitive. This infant simply falls apart whenever normal is disrupted. A girl with long brown hair, about 15, is being asked about school and her extracurricular activities. As she starts to answer, you can tell something is wrong. She has the same troubled look on her face as the baby. She fidgets nonstop. She shakes her knee, twirls her hair, plays with her ear. Her answers come out in halting, constipated chunks. The girl doesn't have very many activities outside of school, she says, though she plays the violin and writes a little. When the researcher asks her what is on her list of worries, she hesitates, and then she lets out the storm. Holding back tears, she says, "I feel really uncomfortable, especially if other people around me know what they're doing. I'm always thinking, should I go here? Should I go there? Am I in someone's way?" She pauses and then cries, "How am I going to deal with the world when I'm grown? Or if I'm going to do anything that really means anything?" The emotion subsides and she shrinks, defeated. "I can't stop thinking about that," she finishes, her voice trailing to a troubled whisper. The temperament is unmistakable. She's that baby 15 years later. And she is clearly one unhappy child. Researchers call her Baby 19, and she is a famous infant in the world of developmental psychology. Through his work with her and others like her, psychologist Jerome Kagan discovered many of the things we know about temperament and the powerful role it plays in determining how happy a child ultimately becomes. This chapter is all about why some kids, like Baby 19, are so unhappy and other kids are not. Indeed, many kids are just the opposite. Baby 19 is so named because babies 1 through 18 in Kagan's study were comparatively pretty jolly. We are going to discuss the biological basis of happy children, your chances of getting an anxious baby, whether happiness could be genetic, and the secret to a happy life. What is happy? Parents often tell me their highest goal is to raise a happy child, but when I ask what they mean exactly, I get varying responses. Some parents mean happiness as an emotion. They want their children to regularly experience a positive subjective state. Some parents mean it more like a steady state of being. They want their children to be content, emotionally stable. Others seem to mean security or morality, praying their child will land a good job and marry well or be upstanding. Past a few quick examples, however, most find the notion surprisingly hard to pin down. Scientists do too. One researcher who has spent many years trying to get at the answer is a delightful elf of a psychologist named Daniel Gilbert at Harvard. Other definitions of happiness exist, of course, but Gilbert usefully proposes 3. Number 1, emotional happiness. This is what most of the parents I ask probably mean. This type of happiness is an affective, emotional feeling, an experience, a transient subjective state incited by, though ultimately untethered to, something objective in the real world. Your child is delighted by the color blue, moved by a movie, thrilled by the Grand Canyon, satisfied by a glass of milk. Number 2, moral happiness. Intertwined with virtue, moral happiness is more akin to a philosophical suite of attitudes than to a spontaneous subjective feeling. If your child leads a good and proper life, filled with moral meaning, he or she might feel deeply satisfied and content. Gilbert uses the Greek word eudaimonia to describe the idea, a word Aristotle translated as doing and living well. Eudaimonia literally means having a good guardian spirit. Number 3, Judgmental happiness. This is where the word happiness is followed by words like about, or for, or that. Your child might be happy about going to the park. She might be happy for a friend who just got a dog. This involves making a judgment about the world, not as a description of some transient subjective feeling, but as a source of potentially pleasurable feelings, past, present, or future. Where does this happiness, regardless of type, come from? The main source of happiness was discovered by the oldest ongoing experiment in the history of modern American science.